Hey, my fellow exiles, it feels like it is pre-release for Path of Exile 2 right now, all the way back in the days before 0.1, where new news was dropping on the daily with everything coming out of Gamescom. Today on the docket, we have a couple interesting things. First, we have a gameplay leak from the floor of Gamescom of actual sword footage recorded by Grinding Gear Games, brand new, never before seen boss fights and monster fights, in addition to Cyclone, the skill gem. Somebody got a snapshot of it and shared it for all of us to look at. On top of that, we also have a bit of a surprise in terms of how swords operate, because Grinding Gear Games, once again, is surprising me. They're leaning into the combo-based gameplay for swords inherent to almost every sword skill that we've seen so far, and I'm really wondering, as good as it might feel in the campaign, the part of Path of Exile 2 that I so dearly love and wished was omnipresent throughout the entire experience, I don't know how it'll translate into the end game. So without further ado, let me start this brand new gameplay footage. Obviously here, this is from the floor of Gamescom. This is someone recording the giant screen that GGG has at their booth. The source here is PoE News, which is something that I've never seen before. That first fight was obviously the Cyclone being used against that Interlude 1 boss, also a map boss. This right here is showcasing swords in maps, doing a couple combos. I had to do a cut there. It was just the trailer. Here's some new gameplay once more. We're actually seeing some sick new monsters as well. This looks like a Coliseum of sorts, and maybe Act 5 Oriat. There are these Demogorgon-ish monsters that we've never fought before in Path of Exile 2. Some traps here. Oh my goodness. No, they're like hellhounds spurting flames from above. Oh, they're those chimeras that are just normal monsters. That's what it seems like they are. That's pretty sick. You can see the Duelist is using a ton of different sword moves here. It's very combo focused, and as we're about to read, they really lean into that gameplay for swords inherently with the weapons design, and we're gonna look at exactly why. This is a brand new boss fight. I absolutely love him pounding the ground there. This is a ship. Is it a ship? No, it's just a wooden building. Okay. Whoa. Oh my gosh. This is what you can play at Gamescom right now. This is kind of just a geeking out video, honestly, guys. There is some analysis, but I'm mostly just watching this for the first time. Okay, this might be the Crier Peaks, or this is... No, I think this is Oria. Okay, no, this is definitely just a map. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you saw something right there that we're going to talk about. A lot of these are charge up skills. You see how you're charging there? Yeah, from what we see with a lot of the skill descriptions and some of the translations and what people are saying at Gamescom, and I have someone that's actually going to be on the ground at Gamescom tomorrow giving us some more information. A lot of the sword gameplay is parry, it's charging up abilities, and it's chaining stuff together. Now, I understand that a lot of people probably won't be a fan of this, especially with how the initial Huntress launch went. A lot of people did not like the parry or the combo-based gameplay there. And honestly, beyond the campaign, I don't think there's a ton of room in Path of Exile 2 for combo gameplay outside of boss fights where you're setting up for a singular massive hit. That's what I did on my martial artist with Falling Thunder in 0.5. So even though the combos might look like they require of input, or there's too many buttons and you don't think you're gonna like, it might only be valuable in the campaign and in certain boss fights. And honestly, with the way that characters scale in Path of Exile 2, this is what I skipped earlier, I'll skip right to the actual gameplay. With the way that character power has scaled in Path of Exile 2, I don't think you're going to have to worry about combos being needed to play Swords of the Duelist. Of course, we don't have our hands on this. We're not getting our hands on it until 1.0. I still see some people in my comments holding out that we're getting this in patch 0.55. There's no way that's happening. It's not happening. Guys, stop with the cope. Stop with the cope. Don't do it. Don't do it. You don't need to give yourselves false hope. But I think we'll be able to play without combos, because I know I know there are some people like myself who would love more fluid, more intentional gameplay with less screen vomit, less monster density, sort of like what we get in the campaign where eventually we become the gods where we're one-shotting everything, and sometimes you still do need to use the combinations. Well, I don't think Path of Exile 2 is that game. They've gone more the Path of Exile 1, the Diablo 4 direction, right? And so even though the initial thoughts might be, oh my goodness, I'm not going to want to play this. It's too combo heavy. It's too weak. By the time it reaches us, by the time we get to scale these characters, there's no way we're not going to be blowing up the entire screen with this. And we also have to note that gameplay demos are usually tuned to be a little bit more difficult. The balance still needs to be done. And these are pre-built characters, and GGG are showing off bits of the game that they want general audiences to see. And a lot of the time, I think general players are more like myself. More screen clarity is appealing to them. They haven't experienced what lots of Path of Exile or ARPG players really love, which is the screen clutter, the builds that are able to fog up the entire screen so you can't see anything. I understand that's an appeal to a lot of you out there. Personally, it isn't for me, and I think a lot of people who haven't played these games also are like me, and they don't like the screen clutter. They like to see the pretty animations. They like to see the brand new monsters that we're seeing here. They like to see their own character. Maybe once they try out the game, maybe they join the crowd that likes the screen clutter. But until they've actually played Path of Exile 2 or Path of Exile 1, I don't think they're going to be converted. And with that being said, let's take a look at an interesting skill gem. One of the most hyped up skills in all of Path of Exile 2 history. It's Cyclone. Dirty Gamescom leakers have given us this Cyclone skill. And to many people's great excitement, it does not require charges to use. Instead, the cost here is mana. And oh boy, is mana going to be spent when you're using Cyclone. It has a couple of interesting mechanics I'd like to call out here. First and foremost is it's sort of like Twisters, where if you're overlapping on an elemental ground surface, you can absorb that elemental surface to begin applying that ground surface's debuff to your enemies. So if you're going over chilled ground, you absorb it much like you do with Twister, and you can apply the chilled ground debuff to the enemies that you're hitting with Cyclone. The same goes for all other types of elemental ground surfaces. In addition, note that the requirement are dual swords or a single two-handed sword. I think what this means is you can't use this with bucklers or with shields, and you can't use this with Giant's Blood. And if you don't know what that is a keystone on the tree that allows you to wield two-handed weapons, one in each hand. But it sounds like you won't be able to dual wield the two-handed weapons and use Cyclone at the same time. Honestly, I'd like to see that restriction go away. We can also take a look at how blood or sand stances change this skill. If you're in blood stance, it causes blood waves to spew out, or if you're in sand stance, it causes sand discs to fly out for the first few seconds of channeling. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck are blood or sand stances? Well, in Path of Exile 1, it's an aura that you can alternate between, and it affects your offenses and defenses in various ways. But in Path of Exile 2, it appears that it works very differently, and it almost looks like this is inherent to equipping a sword. I don't think this is a spirit ability. And I say that due to the way swords operate. Because not only did we get the Cyclone skill gem, which you can take it in, you guys, take it in, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. You're going to enjoy it. My brother's already texting me build ideas and how he's going to scale up Cyclone, and mana's not an issue, and this is his new favorite skill, it sounds like. Take it in. Let's look at how swords actually operate. This right here is a hint from Grinding Gear Games on how to use swords in Path of Exile 2. It's translated via Google Lens from German, so a couple of things might be incorrect. I also spoke to one of my German-speaking friends who further translated it for me. This is blood stance, not stage. And it says you get this when you're using two swords. And I don't necessarily know if that's just the build that GGG are using to get access to this stance, or if you literally can only use blood stance when you're wielding two swords, one in each hand. So check this out. It says, hold the middle mouse button to parry enemies. Hold the right mouse button for blood stance. Press the left mouse button to unleash a wave of blood. And finally, many other skills gain additional effects in blood stance. So what is this? This is combo gameplay inherent to swords and seemingly many of their skills. You'll get access to a basic version, you'll use it, and if you parry, or if you go into the proper stance, in this case blood stance, you'll get access to another very powerful ability. Now, before people go crazy, like I said, we don't have access to the gameplay. We haven't played it ourselves. We have to wait to make the final decisions. Again, people might be like, oh my gosh, very averse to this. Talismans were pretty cool. The combo gameplay in Talismans were pretty sweet. A lot of people think back to parrying and combo gameplay, and they think to 0.2 Dawn of the Hunt and the initial implementation of the Huntress. But in actuality, parry is a pretty powerful mechanic right now, and you don't need to parry in the end game, where a lot of people probably see this as a concern. I think this will be fine, even though it sounds imposing. And then we get the same thing with Sand Stance. It says Ready Stance here. It says Sand Stance changes your skills and gives you extra power. Hold the right mouse button for Sand Stance, and then press the left mouse button to unleash a wave. And then many other skills change in Sand Stance. But this one I feel like is a little bit different. It seems like Blood Stance might require you to parry and then use the ability, or build up that power in a different way. And then Sand Stance, it wants you to charge up an ability, and then you use the ability. I think this is like one of the big slashes. So think of Perfect Strike, right? I think maybe Sand Stance sword skills will require you to charge stuff up. It's very interesting how they're building this combo gameplay into the weapons. I will have fun playing it. I'm looking forward to it. I am a combo gameplay enjoyer. However, with the end game that they've built, with the 90% of the experience, including map bosses, you don't really need combo gameplay or other builds. So they have to do the careful line here, right? Because of the game that they have designed, the great game they've designed, of not putting all the power behind the combo. It can't do that. Not with how fast and how screen cluttered the end game of Path of Exile 2 is. In the early game, totally fine. I love that combos are rewarding with lots of damage in the campaign. But in end game, it's just not that same game. Okay? Let me know if you agree in the comments. I think it might be a difficult line to toe sometimes. Whoa, that ended up being quite the yapping session. If you enjoyed it and would like to see more, make sure you hit the like button on the video. That really helps push it in the algorithm, you guys. Subscribe to the channel for more Path of Exile 2 updates and news surrounding Gamescom. Like I said, we have someone on the ground tomorrow, and we'll be getting information daily. And we have that big announcement tomorrow. Plus, I will be live tonight, so I hope to see you there at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or in another future live stream or video. Thanks for watching.